Today's episode is a special one. I learned how to crochet when I was 6 from my grandmother, but I never really took it seriously. Who's taking it? My maternal grandmother has since passed, but one of the things that she has left for our family is a number of her heirloom projects. Come with me while I try to save one of my grandmother's heirloom blankets that she crocheted. This is it. It's for my cousin. So she just had a baby. Not just. Time just flies. And she wants to give him a blanket from our grandmother. Hello, I'm Akia, also known as Dr. Charlie from Dr. Charlie Untangled on Instagram and my website. Today's episode is a special one. So a little bit of backstory about my making and crafting journey. So I am a knitter, a crocheter, a knit and crochet designer, a craftivist, and a biomedical engineering PhD. And they may seem to not have a ton in common, but the reality is the balance between my scientific and creative brain are always they're always gelling. They're always doing something. A little bit of backstory about my crafting journey. So I learned how to crochet when I was 6 from my grandmother, my mother's mother, and from my aunt and my mom and my cousins. We all crocheted, and it was kind of just a fun thing to do. But I never really took it seriously. Who's taking it? I didn't really do much past giant rectangles until much later in life. When I was in high school, my dad's mom taught me how to knit. And so I was just intrigued. I was fascinated by knitting, and I was like, I want to make whatever she's making. But then when I got to college, again, studying biomedical engineering was no walk in the park. And so undergrad and then grad school during my PhD program is really when my making picked up. So since then, Dr. Charlie Untangled was born, and my making on the internet in front of strangers I don't know has happened. Welcome. My maternal grandmother has since passed, but one of the things that she has left for our family is a number of her heirloom projects. And some of them were gorgeous and amazing and ready out the box and somehow still evergreen in terms of style and fashion and whatever. Some of the things she provided needed more help than others. Come with me while I try to save one of my grandmother's heirloom blankets that she crocheted. It's gonna be a journey because though I have been knitting and crocheting for Though I have been making for a number of years, I would never say that I'm a restorative, a textile restorative expert. I'm just going to try to do the best I can with this project and see what I can come up with. So here's some secret tea. Don't tell her. But I guess it's not that much of a secret, but it's a secret on here. She doesn't know I'm doing this. But this blanket, particularly that my grandmother made, is for my cousin. So she just had a baby. Not just. Time flies. And she wanted a blanket for my maternal grandmother, whom her son is named for. And so we called her Graham. And so her son's name is Graham. And she wants to give him a blanket from our grandmother because, there's not a lot that we have left from her that lives on. So I'm gonna do my best to clean this blanket and fix and finish the work. That's gonna take a number of things. I have to look at the stitches and try to match the stitches and the gauge that she used with the hook size she used, and try to figure out how to clean 30-year-old stains. So if y'all know anything about cleaning stains out of heirloom crochet and knit projects, please let your girl know down in the comments because I need help. I'm gonna do my best and try what I can with this one. There's some TikTok made me buy it situations happening, but other than that, I'm just kind of letting the ancestors lead me, okay? So everyone buckle up. This is gonna be an interesting time. So now it's time to show you the blanket. This is it. She's beautiful. And she's large, and it's a crochet project. And so there's a ton of things. There's lots of things. So there's some aging and some staining happening just periodically throughout. and I need to figure out how to get these stains out without ruining the fabric. I have looked at this and I think I'm pretty sure this is acrylic yarn. So I'm gonna try to get some of these stains out with the help of some perhaps cleaning products. And even if I can't, like, just try to get this as clean as possible. I need to figure out what the stitch is called, but she made this fabric such that you build towards the corner. And so using a particular stitch, it doesn't look hard. I've already like slightly tested it out, but it needs to be finished. So it looks like she was like mid-row, and then it'll like fill in each of these corners, and then you fill in each corner and turn around until you get to a pointed corner. So it's kind of on the bias, sort of. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But those are the things that I need to do. Pray for me, y'all. This is gonna be a journey. Okay, so I have finally found the thing that I'm gonna try on the stains and the spots on the blanket. It's called a little red bottle of emergency stain rescue. I don't know if this is gonna work. We're just gonna pray. I can neither confirm nor deny that this came from TikTok, but I feel like you know what I mean. It's one of those things where it all runs together and somehow it just shows up at your door. But before we move on, a little word from our sponsor. Hey, it's me. I'm the sponsor. Just reminding you to like and subscribe. You know the buttons to click. You know the things to do. Go ahead, hit subscribe for some amazing content that's coming. You will not be disappointed. So hit them buttons, girl. Appreciate you. I also forgot to talk about what I'm wearing today. So this is my knit fit of the day. It is featuring the Ripple halter by Jessie May and this corduroy suspender jumpsuit short situation from Cider. I think it's kind of cute. If you can't tell, I might have a favorite color. It might be green. So I just thought a little green on green action would be cute for today. So yeah. Hello, we have now migrated to my couch. Welcome. The first thing that I have to do in order to rejuvenate this crochet blanket, is to get rid of some of the stains. I'm going to employ this product that I don't know if it's gonna work. Huge disclaimer, don't know if it's gonna work. We'll see. It just says to remove any excess material, apply formula, rubbing it if needed, and then launder as usual. But I'm only gonna wash this one time. I'll probably wash it a couple times, but I'm only gonna plan to wash this one time. So I've put down a whiteboard so you can kind of see what's happening. I'm gonna change the view a little bit. Then I'm gonna spray it and see if I can get some of these stains out. I've got a big juicy stain right here. I'm not even sure how this got stained this way because it seems to be stained like directly, specifically in each bundle of stitches. So I have no idea what the stain is or how it got this way. Here's another that I also have no idea where it came from or why. So we're gonna test this in a couple of spots and see what we can do. I'm thinking she may have used a different yarn and that's just how it is, but it transitions very oddly in some of these spaces. So I have no idea what to think about this. There's no ends to tell me that like she used a different yarn. So I'm thinking this really just stained this way. So let's see. So we're just gonna spray. I'm gonna spray a couple of places and see, because I don't think these are the same stains, but we'll find out. Ooh, the smell is less than desirable. Not too bad. I just probably should crack a window. Should have gotten a towel. I should have gotten a towel. Okay, that's like not terrible. I should have taken before and after. That smells like beef broth. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is or why it smells like beef broth. Let me get a towel. Okay, this seems to be doing something. I don't know if the beef broth smell is from the stain remover or if it's from the stain itself. It has a very interesting scent. All right, well, take some guesses down below in the comments as to what you think these stains might be. Was not thinking beef broth, but that seems to, I know this is very bright, but this seems to be coming out some. I don't know that this will get stark white, but it seems to be doing something. Let's see this other stain. Applying some additional. I might let this sit. Let's try some of these other stains. There's so many, and they're like, some of them are really small, some of them are giant patches. I don't know what to make of this, but this blanket had a good time before I came along, and now I'm having trouble seeing where exactly the stain was. So I think that's a good sign. We're gonna spray this again, and again, I think this is acrylic. I'm not sure if this is a enzyme or not, but I say, okay, it says contains ethyl oxalated alcohol, non-ionic surfactant, glycerin, food grade additive, ethanol, and citric acid. Yep, that's it. All right, girl. Well, we see. I'm picking up what you're putting down, girl. We see it. Let's see if we can get some of these stains out. Ooh, that letting it set, it kind of seemed to be doing all right. Let's see if we can work some of these out. I'm not super worried about the integrity of the stitches. This blanket has lasted, I mean, it's probably as old as I am. So I'm sure, and it's crochet and it's acrylic. So I think this will stand up to a little rubbing. And that's part of the beauty of crocheting and knitting in the first place, is that you can make things that literally last forever. I feel like that's done okay. I think the beef broth section is like coming along nicely. And then it says to launder afterwards, so I'm hoping that that'll get the extra gunk out. Again, I don't think it'll ever be like stark white like it was, but we just don't, want gross goopy gobs of whatever this was in this blanket. So we can get it close to white. I think that would be good enough for me. Okay, so I'm gonna get some footage of the stains that I'm seeing and do a little bit more work on trying to get some of these stains out, and then I'll be back to show you some of my progress. Looks like we got a lot of these like beef broth like stains. It just occurred to me that this might, okay, grossness warning, but this may be rodent urine. So that has just occurred to me. So definitely gonna be making sure to wash this as well as possible. But some of this, it just is general like discoloration of yarn, and I'm not sure, none of this like smells like, none of it smells. So I'm not sure that it's actually excrement at all, but just keeping in mind because it was in storage in an attic for a while. And by a while, I mean decades. So there's always that possibility, but I'm not quite sure what any of this is. It could just be discoloration, sun, food, y'all know what happens when you work on a project, and this one is mostly white. Like anything could have happened here. So just keeping in mind. Then we just got some giant patches here that are like, goodness knows. Some of this I think I can get out, but some of this is just like discoloration, either may be different. As we move towards like the bottom, it could just be some discoloration from different yarns being used, or like I said, the sun. And because this is all made on the bias, some of the discoloration kind of moves with the bias. So I'm thinking there just may be a couple different types of whites in here. But all that aside, this needs a good hot steaming bath once we get done with the stain removal, and then I finish out the stitch pattern. But it's a beautiful blanket, and I think it's gonna be a really gorgeous heirloom piece to have and to hold through sickness and health for the rest of forever for my cousin and her family. So I'm back, and it is several days later, but I have a little bit of a development to share with you. I'm like really thinking to myself, like, man, can I actually do this? It's big news. It's a really big deal. Let me show you. So this is the blanket. My grandmother's heirloom crochet corner to corner blanket that she made many, many years ago that I'm trying to refresh and to finish to gift to my cousin and her little one. So last time around, I was trying to get some stains out of the bottom area of the blanket that I could not identify what they were. And I don't think I really wanted to know, but I had to find a way. I mean, you see this blanket, it's mostly white and very light pink, and there was a lot of staining and discoloration. And you guys, I think this might have done it. Like, take a look at this. I'm gonna lay this out so you can see it, but take a look. So down here, this is get my life together here. So this is the unfinished corner. This is the end of the unfinished corner. And most of the staining was on the bottom half, particularly by this big block of pink. And you can't see anything. I'm gonna lay it out and show you. Okay, I'm looking at the blanket now, and you can see as we look across the pink boxes, this pink section, and the white cream area that was really badly stained. You can see all of that gunk and grime is completely gone. I'm so pleased with how this has turned out. This blanket has been aged quite a bit. You know, it's an heirloom. It's pretty old. It's probably as old as I am. And I want to make sure that all of the stitches, the new and the old, blend together. So the next step is that I need to pick yarn and pick a hook size that I think will match what my grandmother had going to finish that last decreased corner. Okay, so I did a little bit of research and I discovered that the stitch she was using was just a classic corner to corner, or also called diagonal box stitch. And it's one of those stitches that I kind of just knew and didn't realize I knew what it was, and was like, oh, that's what that was. Bet, got it. So I need to find a hook size and a yarn in my stash that I can use to finish this. I think it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but not too much. I think this is going to be the easy part. It's probably going to take the longest finishing, but I think this will be good. So once I find yarn and a hook that matches, my plan is to finish out that edge. And then I think I'm going to do a border that complements this nicely. I also looked up a couple of videos about doing border stitches on corner to corner work. So that's what's next. Yarn, hook, finish that corner, and then create a border. Okay, take a journey with me. We're gonna walk into my yarn room. Hello, welcome. This, ladies and gents, is where I keep all of my yarn. This is my beautiful yarn room where I have all of my yarn stash out visible so that I know what I have and what I want to use. Got all weights, colors, fiber types, and so much more. There's lots happening. I've got minis in here. There's so much happening in here. But I just reorganized everything and I just put together boxes of literal things to give away. even though it's pretty over here, this is the rest of the space. This is where I make money, and this is where I have fun. So judging by the feel and the look of the yarn and the blanket, I think it's mostly acrylic. And so down here is where I have my biggest stash of white and cream colored acrylic yarn. Okay, so down here I've got a couple of options from just some leftover things. Knit Picks Brava worsted. I also think it's worsted, which is another thing I don't think I said, but I think it's worsted. It's more of a cream color. So like I've got some red heart white here, which honestly, I think this is probably more of the texture. This is the feel of the blanket. So I need to identify if I want to recreate the feel or the look or both. So this is a contender. I think it's the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. I'm not sure, what is this color called? Orchid? Recommends a 5.5 millimeter tulle. This is Knit Picks Brava worsted. What does this recommend? I to K hook. Yep, which is right around there. I think 5.5 is an I. So it's right around there. Let's see what else we got in here. This is just some like unidentified. Unidentified, we all have it. We're getting real with the stash in here today. But this is some unidentified cream color worsted that I think is more closer to the Aran side. Leftover from a project that I literally don't remember. And I think same with this. This actually might be more of the Knit Picks Brava worsted. So I think we're gonna just bring these three guys with me and see how well they match the blanket. Okay, so I've got the blanket laid out here with our unfinished edge. I've got the 3 yarns in question here, and I've got 4 different hook sizes that I think might be helpful for this for this journey. So as I'm looking, again, just get into it, y'all. Get into how good this looks. Like, it's beautiful and it cleaned up so well. I'm just so thrilled. Anyhow, let's move on. As I'm looking at this, let me know in the comments which one you think matches better. Again, as far as feel goes, the Red Heart Super Saver is definitely the winner because it has a rougher texture. It's very hardy and durable, which I think is fine for what it's going to be used for. It's just like a happy around the house blanket for everybody to use and beat up on. They can be thrown into the wash and keep it pushing. So I think the Red Heart is probably the best in terms of texture of the yarn to match. And then if we look at this Knit Picks Brava worsted, I think the Brava worsted is a little too shiny to really match. In person, it's a lot shinier. There's a much higher sheen on this yarn than it's come across on video. And then I think this unidentified contender, I think she's a little too cream. I was like hoping for a cream because I think with the way that it's aged, it's a little off-white. And so I was hoping that maybe a cream could be a good option. But then if we look at the Super Saver in terms of color, it's much, much closer. And I think it's a little off looking. I think in person and in camera, it's about on film, it's about the same level of offness. I'm not sure what that word is. But I think it's just because it's aged and there's just a little bit of aging, a little bit of discoloration that's just going to be natural in the rest of the blanket. Plus, it may not be this yarn, or it could just be that like the dye lot doesn't match this like 30-year-old yarn. So I think for that reason, I think we're going to just go with the Red Heart Super Saver because it matches the most in color and in texture. So now we just have to identify which of these hooks is going to be the best choice. So the backs of this says a 5.5 millimeter hook, which would be an I, but I think this, looking at the stitches, I think an I might be a little large for how snug and tight these double crochet stitches look. So I think I'm gonna aim for either the H or maybe even the number 7 4.5 millimeter hook. So let's see. So we've got the blanket here, we've got the yarn options, And I think what I have decided after taking a closer look at the stitches and the colors and the texture of the yarn, I think we're gonna go with this ball of Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo yarn I have in the color Orchid. It's white, and I think it's close enough to what we're getting after. If we take a closer look at these stitches, maybe an H hook might be the right size to continue working. And then to generate a double crochet. Okay, let me turn this around because clearly I'm backwards. Okay, so I've turned the blanket over so I'm in the right orientation to actually create a stitch. But I'm using the yarn that was already attached. There's already some yarn here, but it's not enough to finish this corner, which is why we need the new yarn. So I'm just gonna test this out with my H hook and see if we can recreate what she had going here. So this is by no means intended to be a tutorial. There are a number of good ones on YouTube about how to do corner to corner stitches. I just want to see how well I can recreate this. So from here, it looks like I'll need to do a slip stitch and then chain. How many did she chain? It looks like she did a chain 3. So that was 1, 2, 3. It looks a little tall. We may have slightly different gauges, me and my grandmother, but we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna do 3. Oh my gosh, this yarn is, it's almost like, obviously acrylic can't felt, but as close as it can, it feels very kind of rough. But that's just the beauty of something old, is that it's gonna feel that way. So, okay, this is a block that I've made with an H, and let's see how it compares to the other stitches. I think that looks pretty similar. What do you think? Do you think an H is good, or should I go up or down? Also, this previous block I think only has 2 double crochets instead of 3, so we'll cut her some slack, and I think I'll redo this one when we come back and I come across and finish the rest of this. So obviously this is the decrease section of a corner to corner or diagonal box stitch. I'm gonna fill in the gaps for each row, and then I'll come back when I'm done with the corner. I've officially completed the corner. So now the blanket is complete, but I've still got a bunch of ends to weave in that I think I'll do as I go. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about the border. Another benefit of me choosing the Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo ball that I just happen to have laying around, thank God for a stash, is that this thing is giant. So I'm probably going to use this yarn, even though it's white and it's like slightly different than some of these more aged sections. Like if we look at the other end that I think started it, but I think it's a little bit more aged than this, but I feel like it'll be fine. I'm hoping that it'll be fine. So I think I'm gonna just use this to create the border to go all the way around. It's gonna be a lot harder to match, to try to find a coral, peachy, pinky color to match this if I wanted to. I definitely don't have that in my stash. So I think a best bet, if I want to do a border and I don't want to purchase yarn, would be to use this Red Heart Super Saver that I have. And I think what I'm going to do is go around, and as I go around, you know, and do a border, I'm going to weave in the ends as I go. Now, I'm not totally sure what kind of border I want to do. I don't want to do something too extravagant or frilly or lacy. I want the texture of the blanket, the corner to corner stitch to kind of shine here. So I want to do something simple, but I don't want it to be too simple. So we'll see if I stick with a single crochet, or if after I apply a single crochet border, if I want to do something else. Because again, I've got loads and nothing to do with this because I don't often reach for this, if at all. So we'll see. I might do some searching and see what kind of borders might go well for this blanket. If you were making a corner to corner blanket, what kind of border would you put on it? Definitely let me know in the comments below what kind of border you would use for this type of blanket, because I'm just curious. Like, if I were ever to make a full corner to corner blanket, what would I do? I mean, this little corner that I finished, this was so fun. I literally was done in a split second, and I would love to make something like this. I feel like it would go super quickly and I would love it. So if I do it again, I need some options. So I'm gonna get back to it. The other thing is that I think I'm gonna use a slightly larger hook. So Lord have mercy. Here we go. So I started with an H, and that's what I used to match the stitch that I think works best. So I think this will match a little bit better once I actually wash this and block the new section. I think the new section will blend a little bit better once I wash it and it's blocked and it's stretched out a little bit more. So I think that's fine. But what I want to make sure is that the stitches are nice and loose on the border, and that it's not too tough or too tight or too snug in any section. So I think I'm going to go up just a touch and use the 5.5 millimeter eye hook to do the single crochet border all around. Now, there's a special technique for doing a border on corner to corner diagonal box stitch. There is a special technique for applying a single crochet border. So I'm going to use that and then see how far I get while I weave in these ends. Again, wish me luck. Everybody cross your fingers and say a little prayer for me, because this is a big one. This is a doozy. This is a lot of blanket. Graham, be with me now, because I'm trying to finish up your work. All right, so we'll talk in a bit when I get done with this, and we'll see how long this takes and get some of these ends woven in. Okay, it is several days later. I am in Joann's. I know, my chaotic energy has fully kicked in. But I finished the border and I realized I just don't like it. The color is just too sharp. So here I am in Joann's trying to color match what's going on. The other issue is that I want to put a border around the blanket, but I am not finding anything in my stash that would complement as a third color, and I just don't want to use more of that white that I was using. It's just too stark white in comparison to this really aged kind of off-white color. So I want to show you what I'm thinking. So here we are. I have brought the blanket out into the wild and she's here chilling. I've tried some things. I tried a gray. I tried to outline it to kind of give it something, but I'm not loving it. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know how you feel about this, but I'm not loving it. So this is the section that I recreated here. Now it contrasts quite a bit. It's not super clear in this lighting, but it contrasts quite a bit with what was here. So I found these Karen 1 pound balls that I think actually match the colors, or match what they would have been 30 years ago. What do you guys think? I know this pink is a little off, like comparatively, but it's the closest that I've been able to get. It doesn't look super amazing, but it's close. And I really want a border in this pink color to really help this pop. But it can't look worse than it already does. Like, I'm looking at the border and I just hate it. So I'm gonna take these home, see what I can get out of this, and see if I like a finished product. Like, am I gonna hate this? Maybe, but I don't know. Continue to pray for me. I'm hoping I can find something I like, but I was talking to my mom the other day and she was talking about how this is a legacy piece. This is an heirloom, and that my grandmother would appreciate the bits that I'm adding, and that it doesn't have to be perfect. As a recovering perfectionist, this is just an exercise in me getting my life together. So I'm gonna try these new colors and see how well they blend and see if I can make something that we're all gonna love. Is finally here. I'm en route on my way to my cousin's house to see her and her husband and baby Graham, and I am just so excited for them to see their brand new blanket. I'm excited for them to have a piece of family history to keep forever. This has been a real labor of love. Like, y'all have seen the ups and downs, the chaos and the reveals. So I'm hoping they love it, and I'm hoping they, it's something that they can keep forever. So I'll talk to you when we get there, and then hopefully we can do a little bit of a reveal and then see if they like it. Hey, Graham. You got the mail? Yeah. Such a cutie. So I wanted to gift you something that I feel like you have been asking for a long time. But I intentionally wanted to come here just to make a special moment to give this to you. So prepare yourself. This is one of Graham's blankets that I cleaned and finished and went through all kinds of things to restore it so that you and Graham and John and whatever family comes next can enjoy it forever.
This is your blanket. This is from Mommy's grandma. This is from your great grandmother.
Yeah, she made it.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Isn't it pretty? Basically.
Gentle. Okay.
And this is also why I'm recording it, because I documented the whole process of me restoring this blanket. So you should have seen it, Nisha. It was.
I want to see the whole process. I want to see the whole process because it's all soft.
Yes. It has been
smells
washed
good
and sanitized because I'm I know how you are, and the baby's gonna be around.
Well, I even told your mom, I was like, I'll dry clean it, I'll do whatever. But it must have been in that much of shape where she was like, I don't feel comfortable sending this.
No, you can feel the love. You can feel Graham. There's little, as I was working on it, there's little imperfections here and there. And I was like, oh, you can just see Graham in all of this.
How was this for you?
It was
doing this.
It was a lot, but it was. This is the kind of stuff that I love. It was a labor of love. This is part of me and my brand of just living my life, expressing myself through my stitches.
Yeah.
And I feel this is such a wonderful way to honor our family and show my love for you. And
yes, thank you. I've been waiting for this. So he's two.
I know.
I really
listen. Because the one I'm knitting ain't done yet, but I'm
No. This is, I know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is really, in this color too, reminds me so much of her.
Very her. Yes.
That's what's cool about it.
She was
because this is not my color palette at all, but I'm this is Graham, and I wanted something that was Graham.
Yeah. So.
What do you think of the blanket?
Do you like it?
I want to go lay down.
You want to lay down? Yeah.
Here.
I want to lay down.
Why don't you sit on Mommy's lap?
Wow.
Oh, okay. Is it soft?
Wow. So yeah, it's yours, and it has helped. It's gotta be older than you are. Like,
You think so? Okay,
I was
where?
there.
What's the
Okay,
story?
so-
Because
thank you so much. I appreciate it. So this is like
Ooh.
it's a corner to corner.
yeah, so they're diagonal.
Yeah, it was knit on the bias. So literally, she started from I think that other corner, and
This corner.
no, the one opposite this one. So that one.
Opposite.
So she started literally from that one square in the corner and like built it out. So it's like the size you wanted.
Be gentle, Graham.
And then
You're the blank.
I
Be
finished it.
gentle.
Thank you. You're welcome. So we. You're ready. So I wanted to gift you something.